And the House is now voting on a bill that could ban TikTok. Here now to talk more is Republican strategist and former senior advisor to House Speaker John Boehner, Terry Holt, and NewsNation contributor and veteran political and media strategist Kurt Bardella. Great to have you both. Thank you so much for joining us. So I will start with this potentially big issue now, factoring into the general election. It's happening live right before our eyes. The vote to ban TikTok's parent company. This has become a politically charged bill. Former President Trump, as you know, supported a ban years ago. Now he does not. And President Biden is using TikTok to campaign, but says he would sign this bill into law. So, Kurt, I'd love to start with you. How do you think this will play as a political issue?
I don't think it's going to be that big of a political issue at the end of the day. I mean, this bill is going to pass the House. There's already more than enough Republicans voting for it. I don't think the Speaker would have put this bill on the floor at this point if they didn't know that they had the votes to pass it. So it'll pass. I mean, we've spent the better part of a year and a half hearing about the challenges and national security threat that this app plays in our country. I think that it's very hard to make really anything about this political against Democrats, or certainly a number of Republicans are going to be voting for it. I think President Trump's put himself kind of in an awkward position doing this 180 on being anti-TikTok for so long, and now he's for it. Steve Bannon the other day floated the idea that, he had this meeting with this person that's, I think on the TikTok board and a big donor guy, and then he changed his mind. So who knows what's really going on behind the scenes there, but I don't expect it to be that much political fodder either way, honestly.
Well, I appreciate that aspect that you brought up. Terry, how do Republicans navigate this with the former president saying he's no longer in support of the ban?
Well, it's a little bit of a glitch in the message, isn't it? The Republicans are having a good day on Capitol Hill. They have a bill moving on suspension that's going to be a great bipartisan victory. The bill has considerably more trouble when it gets to the Senate, so this isn't over yet. But Republicans are looking at this as sort of an easy vote to say, I'm pro-American, I'm anti-Chinese. And so that's what's going on today. It's an easy vote, and it's one that they can put in their caps and call an accomplishment at the end of the year. And I agree with Kurt. In the grand scheme of things, TikTok and whether or not it exists is not going to be a major battle in the presidential election.
Well, turning to the general now, Kurt, are you surprised about how quickly Biden and Trump earned their party's nomination, setting up this November rematch now?
I'm really not. Obviously, an incumbent president, it's almost kind of expected that he's going to be the party's nominee, as we have seen in both parties, whether it was, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and now even Donald Trump in the last time, and now Biden. And I think that for Trump, I mean, the minute that Ron DeSantis fell flat on his face, this election was over. Everybody, all the big money in the Republican Party that wanted a Trump alternative, they got behind DeSantis early last summer. And when that didn't materialize in any meaningful way, that pretty much ended any effort that was going to seriously be competitive against Donald Trump. So I think that this is exactly where we ended up exactly where we thought we would. And it's not really that surprising.
Okay, I've got a quick follow-up for you, Kurt, because I know you're a fan of one of these folks. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., running as an independent now, and just recently said he's talking to Aaron Rodgers and Jesse Ventura about possibly being his running mate. What do you make of RFK's strategy? I know you're a fan of WWE.
Well, I mean, we obviously remember, kind of how we got here in this crazy celebrity world. Ventura was first, and being the governor of Minnesota, I think he renamed himself from Jesse the Body Ventura from his WWE days to Jesse the Mind Ventura. That would be an interesting choice. That would generate a lot of attention. Aaron Rodgers obviously be very interesting when you look at. We just had that segment about how Wisconsin is very important. Aaron Rodgers, beloved in Wisconsin, bringing a Super Bowl to Green Bay during his years with the Packers. I think the New York Football Jets might have a problem with their prize quarterback, who's only played 4 plays for them in the last season, dalliancing in this way. That would be a really bad return on their investment. But if somehow Rodgers decided to do that, that would be interesting for Wisconsin. With Biden going there today, the convention for the RNC there later this summer. That could be a very interesting Rubik's Cube of pulling voters away from different places if that were to actually materialize.
Well, I think many would agree, and the conversation appears to be not if RFK wins, but what does this do to the dynamics of the general? Terry, what are your thoughts to that end?
Well, I think this was a play for some attention. RFK has an anti-vaccine kind of agenda, and that is playing into this deal with Rodgers a little bit, since his name ID around vaccines is so well known. At the end of the day, I think the third party candidate gets their few percentage points of the vote. They could impact certain key states, Wisconsin in particular, or Minnesota with Jesse Ventura. I just think it's a long shot candidacy, and it's going to have a lot more announcements like this before they really get relevant.
All right. Terry Holt, Kurt Bardella, thank you both so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
And still ahead.